Hello, people. It's Roger. I had some comments about how I could possibly be the one to come up with how to put people in drug-induced comas. Okay, so I'll tell you about that now. When I was young, I was very fat. I had a really bad stutter. I had really ugly hair, and I was pretty ugly myself. Everybody and their cousin wanted to pick on me. When I was 12, 12 and 13, I stayed in the house almost all the time, just reading. It got to the point I had nothing else to read. I started reading the encyclopedias that we had, and I read about all of them. And when Susan had her, Susan, my wife, is a severe asthmatic, and in '87, her lungs seized up, 89%. We cannot make a fist that tight, and the muscles would not relax. They had her own machines to help her breathe. And after 2.5 weeks, the doctors come to me and said that she was having renal failure. That means that her organs were starting to shut down. This is tough. So they said that they wanted to experiment with her, and I asked them what kind of experiment, and they said that they wanted to give her a barbiturate cocktail. To, and I asked them, why do you want to do that? I said, won't that kill her? And they says, we want to put her into a drug-induced coma. And yes, Roger, she's going to die anyway. So I got thinking, and reading those encyclopedias, I read this thing about stuff called curare. And I asked the doctor, you ever heard of curare? He was like, no. He told him it was a shellfish toxin, stuff the American Indians used on their arrow tips, and wherever they shot with it, instantly paralyzed. And 2 days later, live flight brought some up from South America. Had it there in 2 days. And they didn't know nothing about it. And when I told the doctor, I said, Doc, if anything comes of this, I get 10%. He said, sure. But anyway, they gave her too much. They had no idea of dosages. But it did its job. It put her into a paralyzed coma. And it took another month for her lungs to unseize. And at this time, they come to me again, and she was starting to experience renal failure again. This is a month after the shot. I went down to the chapel, stayed down there 5 hours praying. The next morning, at about 10 o'clock, I'm sitting there with her, and I'm getting choked up. Sitting there with her, and her toes started moving. Her toes, both feet, started moving. And I get up and look at her, and she's looking back at me, and I'm like, yell for the doctor. Well, it didn't take long for her to come out of the paralyzation. Within a matter of 3 or 4 hours, um, she could move some. Um, her eyes were really bad, and they put her through this. For the first day, her eyes went back to 2020, and she had to learn how to everything all over. She lost all muscle memory. She had to learn how to eat, how to walk, everything all over. It saved her life. and it saved a young person's life out in California. That was also as bad. They told me that she was one of the five worst cases in the country that year, and now they make it synthetically, and all the people that you hear about being put under drug-induced comas comes back to me and my wife from 1987. It's the truth. You can probably look it up. They taught her cases in the health colleges all around the country. I imagine all around the world. Anyway, that's the story of that, and it's all a true story. Thank you. You have a good day. Thanks for listening.